to this week's Precizion podcast. I'm joined today by my dear friend Joanne, and Joanne was trained as a nurse originally and currently works in health promotion, and I thought Joanne would be a really good person to talk to about the kinds of things that are going to help everyone who wants to make a change in their health behaviour. That is, whether it's regards to eating or, particularly for us, we're talking about exercise, aren't we, Joanne?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are.
And so I know that Joanne is a Pilates enthusiast.
That's true.
And so Joanne and I have done some Pilates together, haven't we, Joanne?
Yeah, we have. It's been really good.
Oh, well, thank you. And so you've come back to Pilates after a bit of a break.
That's right. I've come back because I originally came along after having a sore back, and it was recommended to me, and then I took a break, but now I've come back and I have to say it does make a difference, so I have to keep it going.
Oh, well, you don't have to say that, but thank you for saying it.
It's true. It's true.
It's true. Too many people say it to me for it not to be true, Joanne, is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so moving forwards, we're both ladies of a certain age.
That's true.
Yeah, and so the thing that I've noticed is every day that goes by, I don't get any younger.
That's also true.
True, sad but true. So, so it's inevitable, this march of time, and yet there are so many things we can do to mitigate the effects on our bodies of the march of time. And so I think that, the quality of our lives moving forwards really hinges upon grasping the nettle at this stage, particularly at this stage. And that is if you've never exercised before, or even if you currently have a really healthy exercise routine, that it's something that we just need to keep on doing. And so for those people who are maybe thinking about making some changes in their lives for the better, health, lifestyle changes, then I just wondered, your work in health promotion, Joanne, what sort of things would you advise people to do to help them to navigate this route towards making changes?
I think when people come along to me, they often have a goal in mind of what they want, and it's about how they're going to get there. And often, we have to have that conversation about just taking it in small chunks, so that it's not a really huge goal. Maybe just look at the goal and think, is this too big? Or but it's through discussion and just eliciting that from them, rather than me trying to tell them how to do it. You
make a good point, actually, isn't it? But I think we have to come to a place where we decide for ourselves that now is the time that we want to maybe embrace a new routine, a new habit, whatever it is. Or get rid of an old one. It could be either, couldn't it? And so it's making those decisions. What helps people to come to that place, do you think, where they suddenly feel like the time is now?
I don't know whether, obviously for us, because like you said, we're of a certain age, and you suddenly think, I maybe need to make some changes so that my quality of life going forward is as good as it can be. So if somebody is doing a behaviour that's possibly risky, or that they know that it's not good for them, that they sometimes, they'll come along and they'll think, right, I need to look at changing this.
Mm-hmm. Risky behaviour, I in the context of exercise, but seriously, I would call high intensity training, that's risky behaviour, if you're asking me. So that we don't want to start, you've got to start with a goal in mind, and maybe that is to feel healthier, to feel better, to feel fitter, to Maybe it's looking in the mirror and you think, oh, something needs to change. And so something brings us to that place where we make this decision to do something. And then it's really the how. And I think, you know, what you said about having a goal in mind is really appropriate, that we sort of narrow it down to a place where you can almost write it in a sentence. And then once you get to that place, then you can start to break it into down into how do we achieve this goal? So, like you said, manageable chunks. Really, and you know, for lots of people, exercise specifically is something that they maybe haven't done before, and so they need guidance. And you know, this is something that I did. You know, doing a video online, you're not going to get the guidance, are you? That maybe working with somebody either in the flesh. That feels like quite a long time off just at the moment, getting face to face with people. But because we're recording this during week 11, I think we are, aren't we, of this?
Something like that. I think someone said it was 80 odd days, 84 days or something.
Gosh, we could have gone around the world in 80 days.
It's true.
Phileas Fogg went round.
So he did.
Oh my gosh, 80 days, yeah. But you know, times like this kind of either, you know, you totally lose the will to live, or it brings you into focus a little bit about, maybe you've got time to think about your life a little bit and reflect and moving forwards, plan a future.
And that's the thing, probably at times like this, like you're right, people will refocus, think what they can do differently, have a bit more time that they didn't used to have, I guess. But on the other hand, there are some people who, as long as they come out the other side of it mentally fit, then that's also good, even if they haven't particularly dipped into exercise, you know. But I guess it just gives people time to think. I think some people arrive at the decision to make a change because they don't feel good. So if you feel sluggish, or you know that you're not getting enough exercise, possibly your nutrition's not that great, you're maybe not drinking enough, you know, all of those things, and suddenly, I don't know if it's what Oprah calls an aha moment, that you suddenly think, hang on a minute. And then once you start to get into that phase of contemplation and, you know, thinking about it, and you start to move through it and, you know, take the action. And sometimes people can just think about it and take action like straight away, whereas for other people it's going to just take a wee bit of time. Sorry.
No, I think that's right. What you said now, you know, sometimes the fact that we've got this bit more time on our hands, you said people realise they maybe don't feel quite as good. And you know what? When you're on that treadmill of getting up, going to work, coming home from work, cooking a dinner, you know, going to bed again, you don't necessarily have that opportunity to really notice how you feel, actually. And so maybe this is an opportunity for people to just have that awakening about, actually, you know what, maybe I don't feel so fantastic. And you know, I must say, I have seen so many people out walking that normally because I've always done quite a bit of, you know, wandering around the streets and countryside, probably I should say. And so there's so many more people out there, and that just doing that is going to make us feel a whole lot better, isn't it? The fresh air and
It is, and that's the thing. And the thing about walking is it doesn't cost anything. Yes, it's good to have reasonable footwear, but for me, having had a dog for almost 10 years, I can see the difference in me compared to before that. Even though I did do exercise, but I dipped in and out of it. You know, I would, you know, away in the beginning when I lived in Coningsby, I would be in 2-step classes a night or whatever. And then I would go through a lull where I didn't do anything. And then sort of we moved here and we got a dog. And even looking at like how I look, I think that's been so beneficial to me, doing 1 or 2 dog walks a day for 10 years. So something really simple actually can make a huge difference. And yes, it's really good for your mental health as well. Gets you out of breath a bit, you know, that kind of thing. So I mean, if people are sort of worried about jumping in and, you know, doing something, that walking's a great place to start.
Oh, undoubtedly, undoubtedly. And, you know, your cardiovascular health is improved. And, you know, like you said, you do want to walk briskly enough that you are starting to get a little bit out of breath. And that has the health benefits, just the exposure to the sunlight, the vitamin D, the air, increased blood flow to the brain. I mean, it's helpful for combating cognitive decline also, isn't it? So
absolutely.
It's such a good thing. And so the thing, and for the bones, you know, I'm talking quite a bit with people about bone health. And so, you know, load bearing through the lower limb, the pelvis and the spine, that's beneficial for all of those bones. But actually it's not the end of the story as far as I'm concerned. And that, you know, particularly with the passage of time, we lose muscle. And so the muscle, obviously, of the upper limb is not really going to be influenced a whole lot by walking. And so it, you know, it is definitely a huge, if there's nothing else that you do in your day, then definitely do that. You know, I would definitely say that. But really, to have a holistic, balanced routine of strengthening for muscles and bones is going to be beneficial. And then the other element that I love about Pilates in particular is the posture. You know, because you do see quite a lot of people, if you're out walking your dog twice a day for 10 years, Joanne, you've seen quite a lot of people out walking. Yeah, seriously. I think half of it is sometimes the weather in this country makes us kind of bundle ourselves on, bend over forwards. You know, we're battling the gales and the wind and the rain. And so, you know, you're not always in the best alignment for the spine, are you, when you're doing that?
No, and I know that because I've had to go for physio and things, just with different things with my back over the years, and my posture is quite, well, it's better now because I do all the things they've told me to do, but, you know, I think I've got a wee bit of a curve up here because I've always kind of walked looking down, you know, so now, well, actually, with the first Pilates class I went to, she was saying about looking into the distance, because you know how often we don't see very far away because we're surrounded by like walls, and we're not often out. Well, people aren't often out. So she was saying you have to look up and look and see more, and it means that you're going to lift your head.
Yeah, you know. I like that. I mean, definitely. Where the eyes are looking, for me, definitely is a guide as to what position your head and neck are going to be in. And this is really crucial for us to consider, that head and neck alignment. It's not something that lots of Pilates teachers will talk about as much as the pelvis and the lumbar spine area and the core muscles. But yeah, that's a really good one, actually. And I like the idea of thinking about lifting the breastbone or the sternum, if you want to give it some.
I think I just did that there.
Oh, you just did it?
When you said it.
You can't help it. It's like a reflex. So yeah, that's... Yeah, so that for me, the postural part of the piece is because, you know, it's all very well being fit and able to walk, but if you bent double, that's not good enough, is it?
Not at all. And I think getting older, it's probably a combination of like walking, maybe swimming, maybe Pilates, yoga, all these kinds of things that are going to keep you that wee bit more flexible. And yes,
I think, and the problem is it isn't just one thing.
No,
it is having a variety of things in your life. But you know, and the other thing is, it's got to be something you enjoy. I bet, you know, for you, helping people to make changes, that must be something that you latch onto. You know, what it is that they enjoy to do, or
because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to keep it up. No. You know, that's the thing. But you know, sometimes when people are speaking to me, they'll they'll have a goal in mind, and then, you know, I'll kind of discuss about why they want to do it, and how, you know, so why is it you want to do this, and how do you think you're going to do it? What have you done in the past? You know, what can you bring to this time? What did you learn from before that possibly didn't work? But what were the things that did work? Because there would have been, and you can bring it to this time for the changes that you want to make.
So do you think something like keeping a diary, is that something you ask people to do?
Some people like to do that because it really motivates them. But other people, you can tell if you're maybe chatting about it, they're not interested.
No, and I think that's absolutely right. You know, there's not a one size fits all approach, is there?
Mm-hmm. But the writing it down kind of makes you accountable, doesn't it? Because you're writing it down and then you see it. You know, I guess it's like for some people, maybe if they're doing a food diary and, you know, they put in, well, I had 3 Mars bars today, so you don't really want to write that. So maybe tomorrow you'll only have 2. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration.
But you make a good point that if you were being accountable, and even if it is only to yourself, just putting something down on paper. You know, at the moment, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I'm doing my 200-hour yoga teacher training also.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, maybe I didn't mention it. So I love yoga and I love Pilates, and I think the two together, for me, it's the best insurance policy you will ever invest in, doing these kinds of things. And so anyway, I'm supposed to write down every day, well, you know, each week, how much practice teaching I do, how much practice yoga I do for myself, you know. And so it does start to, you know, you look back in the diary and you start to think, maybe I haven't done enough this week and I need to do more. And you know, time passes so quickly. I don't know. It's a middle-aged woman thing, I know, but
I think time's passing quickly at the moment because we're not really doing anything different. If we were experiencing new things, then it might seem the days are longer. But actually, at the moment, it's because I was saying to my husband, I was thinking, how come time is passing actually quite quickly? But that'll be the reason.
Yeah, it's just the same every day, and it goes past and you hardly notice it.
I know. When the lockdown first started, I did sort of think, even for myself, I thought, right, I need to do a bit more exercise. Here's the opportunity. So I thought, well, I had a quick look on YouTube and I thought, well, I'll try Joe Wicks. But that didn't last long because it said it was for beginners. But Simon had said, well, that's beginners. It could be age 20 to what, you know, you're 50 odd. So it could be a 20-year-old beginner, because I was getting up going, oh. So I thought, right, no. And then I tried Zumba, which actually was beginners, and that was good because I don't have any rhythm really, but I was laughing while I was doing it, even though I was doing it myself. But then I hurt my calf doing that, and then so I was thinking, this is why the Pilates, I thought, well, it's less likely that I'm going to do something.
You know, and this is the thing that I say to lots of people, the Pilates insurance policy, what that means is when you are strong in the center of the body, then you are much less likely to hurt yourself doing all these other crazy things. And so I really see it as something that facilitates us moving forwards, aging well, you know, being able to do all the things that we love to do, whether it's Zumba, whether it's Joe Wicks, you know, high impact, whatever. I nearly said nonsense and I shouldn't say it.
But like when I look at you when you're doing your Pilates and I see your posture and I see how you move, that really motivates me, because I do think when you see people who are doing that and it looks effortless, and I think, well, I want to possibly get somewhere like that. So I guess that's my goal.
I love that. That you can put and you know what? I say this to people in sessions, it should feel effortless. So in the beginning, it doesn't necessarily feel effortless. I like that you think it looks effortless when I do it, because that's how you would get the most out of it. You're going to get the best most appropriate muscle activation when it feels effortless.
Mm-hmm. So that, I like that. When I see that, then it motivates me, because I think, yeah, that is really, really good, and I want some of that.
Yeah, well, I think that's really kind of you to say that, because you know you don't always feel that it looks effortless, and you don't always feel graceful when you're doing it, because you know I am only human like everybody else, and coming into the, you know, early to approach in the mid-50s, not, I mean, you know, you start to see everybody on YouTube looking younger than you, and you know, maybe slimmer than you, and all of the rest of this, and you start to judge yourself and think you can't compete with that. But I think for the women that I hope to help, I hope I can, you know, just inspire people a little bit to think that it is possible, because it is possible. And you know, I really just want to carry people on this journey towards a better, you know, and it isn't always about being thinner or slimmer or lighter or, you know, all of that. I want people to be fitter and stronger, and you know, just feel so much better for what they're doing.
Absolutely. And for me, if I see somebody who's athletic, again, I think, you know, that is a good look, because they're fit and strong. You know, rather than, you're right about being slim. And I think as you get older, you realize that no one actually cares. You know, you care, but no one else is bothered.
No, we're invisible now.
Simon's mum used to say that. That was my mother-in-law. She was like 70 odd, but not that I'm saying you should be invisible when you're 70, but no. She did say that once you get to a certain age.
Yeah, you start to feel invisible. But that shouldn't be, just because you're getting invisible, it shouldn't be a license to let it all go, should it really?
Exactly. It's funny, because my mother-in-law used to sort of say, oh, look, like with her trousers, about how they were loose. And I used to think, for goodness sake, will I be like that when I'm in my 70s? And I thought, actually, that's not a bad thing, that she still wanted to be as neat as she could be. She liked her garden, she liked walking, all these kinds of things. And you know, it's funny how at the time I thought, I'm not sure that's a good thing, but now I think, no, it was.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's a sort of accountability measure.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's something else that to build into your program for change, really, is how do you monitor the situation moving forwards? You know, is it with a diary? Is it with how your clothes feel? Is it with how many push-ups you can do? You know, it's different for everyone, isn't it? And for me,
and I think as long as there's always a wee bit of progress, it doesn't have to be some amazing jump, because that's not going to happen, let's face it. But if there's wee bits of progress going along, then that is what motivates you to keep going.
Yeah, I like that. It's and apparently somebody was telling me about the internet, and if you were 20 years younger, we might have known this, Joanne, but you know, when you see on the internet where they take the before picture and then this picture that's supposedly, I don't know, 6 weeks later or 3 weeks later or whatever, and the young lad next door was telling me that it's all made up and it's not actually real. And
yeah, that glad to hear it.
Glad to hear it, because I was really thinking it was real.
I know. I think if you have to put it on there in the first place, I mean, maybe you feel that by doing that there is some sort of accountability, but I certainly won't be doing that.
No, don't do that. We're not going to do that, Joanne. But it's in how you feel, isn't it? And if it's feeling taller, if it's feeling just a little stronger, then you know this is all we're trying to do. Moving forwards, keep moving forwards in a healthy way.
And I think it's remembering to give yourself a pat on the back, because, you know, we're not good at that. We're not good at taking compliments, you know, whereas we really have to think about that, because, you know, if someone gives you a compliment, it should be thank you. Or if you've done something and you've achieved something, no matter what it is, you should be thinking, hey, I did that, you know, but we're not good at that.
No, we're not good at that. But I like that we need to pat ourselves on the back, and you know, we might be the only person who does that, mightn't we, at the end of the day? So we have to, yeah.
It's funny, I was at a thing at work, I can't remember. Oh, it was a management course, and the girl who was in charge of sort of lecturing kind of thing, she'd said she would look at, you know, she said, how do people feel getting up in the morning, coming to work? It's often a bit of a drag. So you're already getting into a kind of negative state before you've even had your breakfast. And she said she gets up in the morning and she looks in the mirror and she says, this is Scottish, on your cell, you're absolutely brilliant. She says that every morning. And I thought, actually, and she said that sets her up for the day and it makes her laugh.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought, well, if that's works, you know, there are certain things that somebody can look in the mirror and say, hey, this is going to be a good day, or I feel great, or I've achieved this, or, you know.
I think there's a lot we can learn from a lot of the management gurus. That's kind of a management sort of, you know, you can see Tony Robbins doing that on one, can't you? You know, giving yourself that motivational speech. But there's a lot we can take from that. You know, the 80-20 rule's another one. What you do 80% of the time is what matters. Yeah, so that, you know, we can all fall off the wagon occasionally and not beat ourselves up about it. You know, and that you building yourself up. Maybe nobody else is going to do that. We should do that for ourselves.
I know, and it's as if you've achieved something, then that's a really good thing, and it's just reminding yourself of that, you know. But that's a kind of maybe sometimes a difficult mindset to get into.
Yeah, no,
but it can be done.
The positive mindset, and yeah, it is a challenge, isn't it? But it's worth trying, especially at the moment with things the way they are, just to remind ourselves, you know, it's going to be okay. Everything we do is taking a step in the right direction, then that's a good thing.
It is.
So yeah, thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Joanne.
Thanks, Philippa. It was lovely.
We've enjoyed chatting, haven't we?
Yes, it's been really nice. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again in our Pilates classes.
You will do. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.